I'll be presenting a topic on ergonomic work from home. So this is the title which I'm going to talk about. And when we talk about ergonomic, it's basically about uh, the structures which you're dealing with surrounding you, and it has to be like solely designed according to our height, our width, and then our function. So since COVID-19 pandemic, life has changed remarkably for all of us, uh, economically, psychologically, and mentally. Many things has been changed. Even it's like now I'm going to talk about work from home. These are mainly for those office workers, office staff who can't go to work. They have to work from home, their own house. So in this situation, you can see how things has changed, the environment has changed, and then we got to like bring our whole office into our house now at this moment. You can see since COVID-19, we are no more going to office, and then we have to set up a small office in our own very home, and it's not easy actually. Like you can see in the second slide, we are always surrounded with kids. The environment will be really in mess for those who are married parents, single mother, single father, whatever it is. So you can see its life is very tough. So to stay focused at home is totally different. It's very difficult. So this is how the scenario are now at the moment in everyone's house. Sometimes it could be nice, sometimes it could be terrible, very stressful. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the very basic thing of human anatomy. So human anatomy, you can see we have very important structure in our body, which is known as spine. And this spine has to be well taken care. Otherwise, if you don't have a proper chair, if you don't have a proper table, when you don't place your laptop, desktop at your appropriate level, so you will tend to have some spine issues. Spine issues means there will be too much of curvature of spine, and that will slowly leads to some neurological problems, and then eventually that will lead to some disease also if it's not what do you call, we don't take things into consideration, then it can lead to a very serious health problem. So now we have this cervical curve here at the neck level, and you have a thoracic curve, and then you have lumbar, and you have a sacral curve. Okay, now you can see it forms like an alphabet S, and this formation has to be maintained properly. If otherwise, it will lead to the problems I told you earlier. So these curvatures are very important, especially when it comes to the ergonomic designing, because when during designing things ergonomically surrounding you, these curves will be taken into consideration very most at the utmost level. So now surrounding of that the muscles, the spine, then you can see these muscles. These muscles are the musculature. These muscles are the form of fibers which going to uphold your body in appropriate position, and these are the fibers which going to help in doing some action in your body, any action. So you can see how complex it is actually. All right, so this is the back part of it, of our human body, and this is the front part, which is known as anterior part of our human body. And all this is very, very important for us to design any furnitures ergonomically in the first place, okay, to keep it in functional. So knowledge on muscle and spine is very important. Okay. So, in our daily life, this is how our days are actually run by us at home. When you don't have a proper table, when you don't have a proper chair, when you're not aware of your spine, then you can see in this picture, You will have neck pain, you will have mid back pain, lower back pain, elbow pain, and of course knee. So when you don't have a proper sitting position and a proper posture, these are the conditions it will lead to. So it's very important. Everything has to be ergonomically kept, or if minimal, modified according to it. Okay, it's very important. See, we can do a small study of this human here. When he sits, there's a lot of bending. You can see the knee is bent, and then there is no, when there's no proper circulation to the lower limb, then it will cause varicose vein. So varicose vein is one of that very major problem when we don't have a proper blood flow to the heart from the bottom of the leg. So all this is very important. It can lead to heart disease. Now, when we talk about ergonomic, we all know one thing, that it has to be in a certain proportion. As I told you, the desktop has to be in certain angle of your eyes so that you don't strain the neck. And then you can see here the elbow is actually rest on the armchair, and then it is also kept in a certain degree. And then you can see the leg is slightly raised on the leg lifter here, and then the chair will also have a seat which can actually incline and decline. So these are the things which can help in movement when if you have to do a very long sitting and then do your work for a longer hour. So all this modification, it is very compulsory. This is the proportion suggested in sitting. Meanwhile, in standing, you can see the lady maintaining the same degree of elbow on the first picture, and then you can see she is maintaining a certain length of eye coordinated, and then you can see she's standing straight. But it's impossible for a person to stand for a very long time, so you need a stool to put it at the bottom of the desk so that you can actually shift your weight. So these are two things you can do. So now most of us at home, we have to relate this working from home. So some you might have a very high table like this, some you might have very low table like this, and many of us, we don't have a table like this. We will have a dining table at home, and then we tend to use the dining table as our office table. So it's nothing wrong as long as you get a good chair, then it will help. So in a there are a few more slides which I can give you some idea what you can do about the ergonomic part in your house. Okay, so have a look at this picture properly. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is the suggested measurement, 50 to 60 centimeter from the desktop, and then eye view angle will be 40 to 45 degree, and then hand has to be within 90 to 100 degree. Okay, why it cannot be low? And then because it will overstrain the muscle, but if it's in this will become a neutral position for the hand, elbow. And then you can see the length, height of the table, and then you can see when he sits, it's already raised. It is not flat on the floor. The leg has to be lifted up slightly so that it will be well supported. And then you can see his spine is rest well at this high chair. This is a high chair. We have several types of chairs. Later in the next slides, I will explain to you. But make sure you all, whoever participants, listeners, please listen and then observe properly how the pictures are so that you can do the modification. You'll get some idea after I'm talking to you all about this ergonomic thing. So here, if you plan to actually stand and do your work, then you can actually set up like this. Similarly, the elbow will be 90 to 100 degree, and then the eye level has to be 40 to 45 degree. Then the distance from the desktop to the eye has to be 50 to 60 centimeter. So these are the few criteria and the points which you can actually take and then implement in your ergonomic setup at home. Okay. So remember, it's 50 to 60 centimeter distance and then 40 to 45-degree eye angle, and elbow has to be 90 to 100-degree. So elbow plays very important role, the angle, because otherwise you tend to get a lot of problems around surrounding your forearm muscles. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So when it comes to modification, normally we will put our PC on the table, and then the desktop monitor will be on the table, and then we tend to like bend forward and then look very low onto the monitor. Actually, if you follow these rules, can you see the height and all that? So it has to be eye level. So if you think your monitor is too low, then you have to bring it up. So how can you bring it up? You can actually buy something like this. Okay, this is a monitor lifter, they call it. Sometimes they call it monitor, they call that razor. So it depends on the words, but you can just Google and then you can buy. Otherwise, go to any PC shop, they even sell with the cardboard kind of material. If you want it to be very permanent, then you can even get it done custom made by carpenters. So you can actually do it like this, so that you can raise the monitor slightly higher and to your eye level, which we suggested 40 to 45-degree of angle has to be there when you're sitting and when you're standing. It's very important. So this is the most utmost important, because if you overstrain your neck, that going to cause a lot of pain, and then it can cause neurological issues. So I'm very sure you all don't want that. So you have to do that. Okay. Next, that's for the monitor. Now, table, as I told you, it can be any table. But if you're a tall person, then you really have to make it higher the table, and then you have to modify the height. If you're a very short person, very small size, then normal table will be just fine. But then it depends on the monitor height which you want. You have to raise the thing by whatever it's supposed to, and then put at your eye level, so that this can overcome posture imbalance, and it can cause to any other problem in the later future. So now we all will have one major issue in our days, like choosing things. Okay, now which chair to choose? That's another problem. Okay, see, whenever you go to any furniture shop, you will see varieties of chairs, especially office chair. It comes with common economical pricing. Sometimes it could be very pricey. It all depends on the material, then the function. Okay, now a very basic type of chair, it's divided into two. So these are the two things which you have to remember. One is low back chair, which only supports up to your mid back, and the other one is a high back chair where you support up to your neck level, neck or head, basically neck level lah. So I'm repeating again, when you go to a furniture shop, you need to go and hunt for, there are two types, you choose either one. Okay, low back chair, this is basically for normal function where you don't need about 8 hours of sitting, because it only supports your mid back. Normally this type of chairs are used during meetings, because it just support for a while only. But for a long period of time, you need something to rest properly. The spine has to be supported, so you need to go for high back chair. So high back chair, normally it will come with a seat incliner, meaning you can actually move the seat downward, upward, and then you will have arm rester. Why this chair is designed such? Because this chair is meant for people who need to sit for a long time and who really needs a good support for the back. When you don't have a good support, when you don't have a good back rester, which is going to support up to the neck, and you're going to sit for a long time, that's going to hurt you maximum. Okay, so low back chair. So low back chair, the only difference is will be the back rester. Again, this backrester. This will support up to your mid back. For a long time it's gonna cause a lot of pain. Okay, I'm repeating back because it's very difficult to find a good chair. Unless you find one, then you stick to it. And then sometimes the cost also will actually make you to go for a cheaper one, which will hurt your back. So it's very individual, can't say much. Okay, so when you buy a chair, you have to look for the arm rester. The one you can rest your arm is very important. Don't get the one without the arm rester, it's wrong, because for a long hour it's not going to support you in any way. It could be cheap, but it's not going to help you. Next, back rester, as I told you, get the high back, because high back is the best, which will support you. Then when you go here, all this you will have adjuster. This the adjuster for you to bring down the seat and bring up the seat. So this will help you to move. You can't be like sitting stationarily in one place. You cannot be static in a place, so you got to move it with these handles. Okay, then you have a roller at the bottom, and this roller bottom will help you to move around in the house, move to one place to another place, rather than like move walking. You can actually just push yourself and then you can go. So this will help you. But it depends on individual. Some people, they don't like the roller, it's fine, but the roller, that's the function of it, for you to move around. Okay. Okay, now let's go high back chair. Okay, now here in this picture you can clearly see that the lady is sitting on a low back chair. This is not a high back chair, this is a low back chair. So when she's seated, you can see the neck is not supported, only the mid back is supported, right? So here you can see the upright sitting position. This is how you're supposed to sit. Okay, so when you set your PC, make sure the monitor is at that level, eye level, and then the elbow has to be precisely on that 90 to 100 degree, the suggestive degree, to avoid any complication. Okay, for the elbow, then you can see posture is upright and then straight. Second one, you can see, I hope you remember just now I showed you have a adjuster where you can actually incline, recline, and then decline the seat. So here you can see the lady, after some time, she actually declined the seat and then she adjusted and she's sitting like this. So what happens, rather than you sitting in one stationary position, workstation, you can easily injure your wrist, because wrist placement plays very vital, and there will be a lot of tension created at around the wrist, and that will actually leads to uh, overuse of your tendon and your muscle. So what will happen, it will actually disturb your wrist joint. So now in this picture, you can actually see this is what ideal typing position suggested, and you can see how it is actually kept. So the wrist doesn't hang down, it has to be in the air, and then you have to do your typing. So most of us, what we will do, we will rest our wrist down on the table very comfortably, and then we will do the typing. So end of the day, what will happen? Then we will feel pain. Sometimes we feel tingling sensation in our fingers. So all this, so this shows that we have done something wrong. So to avoid all these issues, you have to like actually lift up your wrist joint like this, and then you have to do your typing. This is the wrong way of doing this. Normally this is what every one of us will do. So if you imagine, you just put on a book underneath the wrist joint, that will actually solve the problem because it doesn't drop. That's a modification part of it lah. You can just put something underneath so that you don't bend the wrist joint, so the wrist joint will be straight. So this is another thing we have to consider. Now on this slide, you can see on the left side of it, method of using keyboard and the wrong way of doing it. Okay, see, let's say here the right way is, can you see how they place thumb, fingers, and then make sure the wrist is on the air. You don't bend it and put comfortably under on the table. Okay, it's very important. And then you can see how people can actually make wrong doings by doing this placement, and then this is also wrong. So this is the right way of placing your fingers on the keyboard. Next, the right way, you can see here the alignment is straight, you don't bring it down. When you bring it down, that's going to be a lot of compression around your wrist joint, the circulation will be disturbed. At the same time, the muscle tendons, they will be overused, they can't work properly. Then gradually what will happen, you have nerve there, that nerve will be get compressed, and then you will feel terrible sensation around the thumbs and the finger. They're going to be terrible. Okay, you can't even hold cups later on. So this is the wrong way of doing it. Okay, right. So next, let's see how do we use mouse. So mouse usage also very similar. Can you see bending will actually cause that pain, and then when you bring it straight, alignment, if you keep it straight, and then there won't be any tension around the wrist joint, and then you won't have any problem with it. So why I'm saying this, when you don't have a proper alignment, proper modification done in your workstation at home, when you don't have that proper height and don't have a proper arm rester of the chair, all this high possibility can happen, can injure you in a day long run. Okay. Next, you can see usage of mouse here. Wrong to move like that. You have to actually move the whole hand side by side. Okay. Now in this picture, you can see mouse usage. This is wrong. And then in this one, you can see it is right. Why? Because the elbow angle differs here. This one is extended too much forward, and this one is within the range. So this is what I told you, 90 to 100 degree, it's very functional for it to move. Otherwise you might have complication after that. So very common condition for when you bend your wrist a lot during your typing and moving your mouse is actually carpal tunnel syndrome, where the bend in your wrist joint will be actually get inflamed, and then it will compress the nerve. So when it compresses the nerve, you will feel terrible sensation, tingling sensation, compressed sensation, and you will slowly lose the power of your grip, and where it will lead to difficulty for you to hold things, eat, and all that. So to avoid all that dramas, then there are a few exercises also I've included. Even the topic is about ergonomic, but most of us would have already having this problem. So exercises for it is very simple. Just bend forward your wrist, forward, backward, and sideways. And then you can do stretching of your wrist this way. Count it for 10 counts. 10 counts and then let go. You can do 3 times of this stretches. So when you stretch, what will happen? Your muscles fibers will elongate and then they'll be ready for movements. So this will avoid future problems. Okay. Then flexion exercises, you can just use anything available around you, hold, and then you do the wrist movements. Then you have grip strength. You can just use a stress ball or any squeeze ball, anything, and then you just have to improve the grip. So this on that side. So ergonomically, what I'm trying to say here is actually placement of your wrist very important of your hand, and then using movement of your mouse usage of your hand is very important. And number three is actually your elbow placement is very much important because to avoid any problems. So at home normally what will happen when you don't have a proper table, when you don't have a proper chair. So when you don't have a proper chair, what will happen? Your angle, your elbow angle will be altered. So when your elbow angle is altered, then the rest of it will be altered. So your hand will be more altered in a wrong position, and then your elbow will be in a wrong position. So you're going to have a terrible hand problem, elbow problem, and also shoulder problem. Then when you don't have a proper chair, you will also have problem with your neck because the chair will actually alter the neck position and your whole spine position because your body will try to like compensate the proper position for it to regain back that straightness of your spine. But what will happen, the chair will actually will not cooperate, and then it will always push you forward, and then your front muscle has to work more compared to your back muscle. So gradually you will have a hunch. So your posture will change after some time. So all this because of a poor ergonomic setup in your environment. Now, first is your hand, shoulder, your upper limb. Second, you will have back pain. So these are the symptoms why you have back pain, because when you don't have a proper chair, when you don't invest in a proper chair, you will have poor posture, and that poor posture will actually leads to back pain. It can either back pain or it could be a mid back pain. Okay. So for that, you can actually do before you start your day at home because it's working from home. So it's good for you to do your stretching, stretching in a sense because when you stretch your muscles, they will become more permeable, they more become flexible. So whenever you do your movement, it'll be more easier. So talking about working from home, there's another thing also when you set up your workstation at home, it is important for you to get that monitor lifter, that cupboard thing, and then your keyboard has to be placed in that angle, the table has to be in a proper height, and then the chair has to be with a proper height also, which really fits you. It's not a very big chair, it has to be really fitting you well, and then you feel comfortable in the chair. So every time when you start your work, always remember to keep your water a little far. Any water or your bag, all few things, you have to keep it little far so that in between you have something to walk and go and take. So in doing that, it can actually help you to increase your blood circulation, and then it helps to move your body. Otherwise, if you keep everything closer to you on the table, like water, your handphone, your bag, and all that, then I'm very sure you're not going to move. You'll be static, sitting there and doing your job. So you have to break this pattern. Like every 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, you just have to like keep everything far from you. You just go and grab, walk, go grab, walk, and then go grab things. So this will actually help in your blood circulation. At the same time, it also eases your back problem. So let's say if your chair is very bad and then you're sitting it in a very long time, and then at least you have a break, so to go and grab your water, you will actually correct your spine, and then you will stretch your body automatically. So all this will take place. So this will actually help to reduce the problem in the future. Okay, now when it comes to stretching, So these are all simple stretching where you just need a chair by sitting and then you try to touch your toes. So by doing that, actually what happened, it stretches your back. Then you have gluteal adductor stretch, abductor stretch, and then see these are the varieties of stretchings they have shown. So all these you can have a look and then you can actually count 10 for each one of it and then you can repeat to 3 times. You do each one of these 3 times. Some of them are very easy. I'm very sure everyone can do it even now. It's very easy, simple. But let's say you being an individual or very obese, if you think you can't do this, don't try to do this because this can hurt your knee. So you do whichever you can do. So you don't overdo anything. Okay, I'm repeating back. People who are very obese, big thighs and all that, you have to be very careful. If you have any knee injuries, try not to do this. Do which is very easy for you. Don't overdo, try to do like this. It's very impossible because you can't lift the leg up. Okay, do any of these exercises which I'm showing here, whichever you can do. All right, I'm repeating back. All right, pregnant ladies, kindly don't do all this. For you, it'll be a different kind of exercises. So now here, this is for the forearm, biceps, forearms. See, can you see? It's very easy. You just have to grab on something near you and then you can just do all these exercises. This is one of the most easiest chart I found. It's very easy. Everyone can do this. Shoulder exercises shouldn't be a problem unless you have gone through some surgery, major surgery. Please consult your physiotherapist and your doctors before you all do a. So you can see here, simple stretches. So these are the stretchings which you really have to do before you start your day at work, at home, because you're no more going to office. So from home, you have to do all this. Okay. So I believe that work from home, you work from home, that must be so relaxing. I don't know how many of you all are feeling relaxed working from home, but you can do better things at home actually by doing some modification for your own health. Working from home could be very challenging, but I believe every one of us will get used to it at one point, and then you can actually learn, educate your own self, learn more things about ergonomic by yourself. There are so many videos in YouTube's you can actually rely on, and you can get a lot of ideas on how you can actually handle things. There are also few books. You can even buy the books and then read. You can even read it online and all that. That will really help also. So those are the things I would like to share with you all. So I'd like to conclude again. Let's go from the first slide. Okay, so posture plays very important role, especially when you're working from home. Um, why it's important? Because to avoid all these problems. Can you see the red marks? These are all the problems where you will face at the joint. So when you have a proper chair, when you have a proper table, when you have a proper height of the monitor and then hand placement and all this, for a long hour, you can actually work. Otherwise, it will hurt you. So that's what I wanted to say. And then there are certain criteria for you to set up your workstation at home, which is, you can see monitor height, eye level, distance from the monitor. If it's too close to the monitor, you will get very tired. Your eyes will become tired. So you must have a certain angle or distance from the monitor recommended. And then the elbow placement. Elbow placement will be only corrected if you have a good check. That is for sure. And standing, as I told you, you need a small stool. Put it under so that you put one leg on the stool. You can balance it. Change, switch your leg. Okay. So these are the distance in numbers. Take your phone and then take a picture of this. It will be very easy for you to set up. Okay, and the standing, remember, put a small chair there down there so that you can just put your leg. Even in sitting also, you can just put one chair, a small stool, that will really help you a lot. Okay, so modification can done with this thing to lift up. choosing chair, you have low back chair, and then you have high back chair. High back chair is highly recommended because for a longer hour sitting, you need a good back rester to support you. Okay, then you can see these are the four way of sitting: upright sitting in a very static way, and then you can decline the seat, get a seat which actually can decline, and the other one need to recline, and then standing. To avoid wrist hand problems, make sure you do proper typing. For you to get this proper typing, you must get that proper angle of your elbow so that you can actually avoid this problem. When if your chair is too high and then you try to type, that is going to cause a lot of bending. If the chair is too low and you try to type, it's going to cause a lot of problem. It has to be in a proper position. The angle has to be really checked. And then these are the slide we went through just now: usage of keyboard, then usage of mouse, and angulation of your elbow. And there are some exercises here, mainly stretching, simple stretching exercises. Then second cause may cause is your spine problem, where back pain, and of course mid back pain. And then there are few exercises recommended. Do very simple exercises. Do not do extreme exercises. It all depends on your health of your body. Then, yeah, so that's all from me on ergonomic work from home. Thank you very much for listening.